Welcome to MF English Stories. Enjoy short English stories with powerful life lessons. Don't forget to subscribe.
In a quiet riverside town where the river moved slowly like a long silver ribbon and old maple trees lined the narrow streets, there lived a boy named Oliver Hayes. He was 12 years old, thin and gentle, with dark hair that never seemed to stay in place and eyes that held both curiosity and worry. Oliver lived in a small wooden house with his mother, Mrs. Hayes, who worked long hours baking bread to sell to their neighbors. Since Oliver's father had passed away when he was only 7, the small home bakery had become their only source of income. Every loaf of bread mattered. Every coin earned was carefully counted. Still, their house was always filled with warmth, the warmth of freshly baked bread and the warmth of quiet love. Oliver woke up before sunrise each morning. He would wash his face with cold water, tie his apron, and help his mother knead dough. The kitchen was his favorite place in the world. He loved watching the dough rise slowly, as if it were breathing. He loved the smell of yeast and flour, and the way the oven hummed softly while the loaves baked. His mother often smiled at him and said, "One day, this bakery will be yours, and you'll make the best bread in town." Those words filled Oliver with pride and hope. One stormy morning, everything changed. Rain fell heavily against the windows, and thick gray clouds covered the sky. Mrs. Hayes had caught a bad cold and could barely get out of bed. Her voice was weak when she called Oliver to her room. "Sweetheart," she said, "I need you to bake today's bread. Follow the recipe exactly. The neighbors are waiting." Oliver swallowed hard but nodded. He wanted to be brave. He wanted to prove he could help his mother. He washed his hands carefully, measured the flour, warmed the milk, and mixed everything just as he had been taught. His hands trembled slightly as he kneaded the dough, but he whispered to himself, "I can do this." When he placed the loaves into the oven, thunder suddenly roared outside. The lights flickered, then went out completely. The kitchen fell into darkness. Oliver froze. His heart pounded loudly in his chest. He stood in the dark, listening to the rain and thunder, unsure of what to do. After several minutes, the electricity returned, but fear had already settled in his mind. What if the bread wasn't ready yet? What if opening the oven too soon ruined it? He remembered his mother once saying, "Heat must stay inside to make good bread." So Oliver decided to wait. He waited too long. When he finally opened the oven, thick smoke rolled out. The smell was sharp and bitter. His heart sank as he pulled out the loaves. Their crusts were dark brown, almost black. Some edges were cracked and hard as stone. Tears filled Oliver's eyes. "I ruined it," he whispered. Mrs. Hayes came slowly into the kitchen, wrapped in a blanket. She stared at the bread silently for a long moment. Then she sighed, a long, tired sigh that cut deeper than any harsh words. "This was supposed to be today's bread," she said gently, "but we can't throw food away. Take it to school and eat it for lunch." Oliver felt his chest tighten. He nodded quietly and wrapped one loaf in cloth. At school, Oliver kept his bag closed as long as he could. When lunch break came, he watched other children laughing and opening boxes filled with soft sandwiches, sweet fruit, and warm pastries. Slowly, with trembling hands, he pulled out his dark loaf. A tall boy named Marcus noticed. "What is that?" Marcus laughed loudly. "Did you burn your house down?" Other children burst into laughter. Oliver wanted to disappear. His face burned with shame. He broke off a piece and tried to eat it, but it was dry and bitter. It scratched his throat. Then a soft voice spoke. "May I have some?" It was Emily, a quiet new girl who usually sat alone. Oliver stared at her in surprise. "It's burnt," he said. Emily smiled gently. "That's okay." He hesitated, then handed her a small piece. She took a slow bite, chewed carefully, and nodded. "It reminds me of my grandmother's bread," she said softly. "We were poor, but she always said food tastes better when it's shared." Something warm stirred inside Oliver. Soon another child came, then another. They weren't hungry for burnt bread, they were curious about kindness. Oliver began breaking his loaf into smaller and smaller pieces. By the end of lunch, nothing remained but crumbs. For the first time that day, Oliver felt proud. That evening, Emily's mother knocked on their door. She introduced herself and explained everything. "I own a small cafe downtown," she said. "Emily told me about your son's kindness. I would love to buy your bread and maybe teach Oliver how to bake professionally someday." Mrs. Hayes covered her mouth in shock. Tears ran down her cheeks as she thanked her again and again. That night, Oliver sat quietly at the kitchen table holding a piece of fresh bread Emily's mother had brought. "It was only burnt bread," he whispered. His mother smiled gently. "Sometimes mistakes open doors we never expected." From that day on, Oliver never feared failure again. He learned that kindness can turn embarrassment into blessing, and that even burnt bread can change lives.